Today's the day, folks. It's 3 months and 1 week since I had my right shoulder replaced, and I'm going to see if I can ride a motorcycle. It's actually been 4 months since I rode a bike, and well, obviously I'm keen to get back on the bike. Not only have I missed riding them, but you know, I kind of make a living doing this, so it's quite important that I can ride my bike. So I'm going to give it a go. Do you think that's wise? Hey kids, it's Mr. Fly here, hope you're well, and welcome back to the channel where, as I say, I'm going to attempt to ride a bike for the first time for 4 months. Now, I think it might be a bit sensible if I work my way up to riding the larger bikes. I've sat on the GS, it doesn't feel particularly comfortable with my hands up in that high position that they are on the GS, whereas the other bikes feel okay because my arms are a bit lower down and my shoulder feels a bit more comfortable in that way. So rather than go daft and start on, say, the Ducati, which I think would be an error, I'm actually going to get out my Kawasaki and give that a whirl. So first things first, and the first challenge of the day is move all these bikes and get the Kawasaki out, and then we'll give it a go.
This video is sponsored by Bikesure, the UK's largest independent motorcycle insurance broker. Get a quote from Bikesure tailored to your exact needs for your bike, trike, scooter or moped. In fact, they'll insure anything on two wheels, including multi-bike policies. Click on the link below for full details.
Just before I get the bikes out of the garage though, somebody mentioned in the comments when I said I was thinking about riding my bikes again, that what I should make sure I do, he said, of course you've thought of this already, but I hadn't, to be fair, is that you should make sure you wear your airbag vest when you go out on your first ride. So I've got one of these Helite ones. This is the sort of airbag vest that's tethered to the bike. So if you do come off, it inflates and it protects you. And well, I think it's a cracking idea. So sorry I didn't make a note of your name, but thank you for the suggestion. I'm going to pop the Helite on over the top of my jacket, and then if I do come off, at least the shoulder's got a bit of protection, because clearly coming off and damaging the replaced shoulder would be a bad thing. Right, now to get the bikes out.
So folks, here we are, back out on the motorcycle. Gosh, after 4 months, I tell you what, it feels so good to be back on board a motorbike. And look at this day as well, absolutely beautiful day to come out on the bike. Spring is just around the corner now. I'm so happy about that. We've had so much rain, haven't we, since Christmas. I haven't really missed much really on the bike, so I, to be honest, since I've been recovering. Anyway, so yeah, back out on the Kawasaki. And it feels great, I have to say. Handlebars on this are quite nice and low down, and it's sort of in an area that feels quite comfortable on my shoulder. Ironically, because I've been doing a lot of physiotherapy, I've damaged my left arm. I've got tennis elbow on that now, in that the tendons on that are really hurting, where I've been assisting my other arm, and where I've overcompensated lifting things with my left arm, I've hurt that one, and that actually hurts more than the right one. So, bit of a state as far as arms go, but anyway, let's ignore that. So yeah, so how long should you give it after you've had a major operation, like I did? I had that shoulder replaced, before you then go out on the bike. Well, of course, that was something I asked my surgeon a lot before the operation, and he said, well, the way it normally works, 4 weeks in a sling, after 6 weeks you're good to drive a car. And he said, so I imagine you're probably all right on a motorbike after, say, 8 weeks. So 8 weeks onto a motorbike is what he said. I thought, oh well, that sounds all right, and so I agreed to go ahead with the operation on that basis, thinking I was only going to be off of YouTube for a couple of months. And then it comes the day of the operation, and I say to the anaesthetist, oh, looking forward to getting back on my motorbike in 2 months' time. And he said, oh, you can think again, mate. I said, what do you mean think again? And he said, oh, 3 months minimum, 6 months ideally. And I said, but the surgeon said I could get back on after 2 months. You know, it turns out the anaesthetist rode a multistrada, and he said, well, the surgeon's not a motorcyclist, is he? So I explained the situation, that I was a YouTuber, and you know, I did this for a large part of my living. I kind of rely on it from a money point of view. And he said, well, in that case, he said, I would give it at least 3 months, and then take it easy and just work your way back if you feel okay. So at the point that I'm recording this, it's 13 weeks, so it's 3 months 1 week since I had the operation. So I'm in line with what the anaesthetist said, and I do feel safe to ride it. I've been driving the car since 6 weeks, and that's been absolutely fine. And as I ride along here now, everything feels absolutely fantastic. It's like I've never been off the bike. I'm loving it. And I love this Kawasaki anyway, it sounds absolutely amazing. So yeah, so it's the 3-month point, but I am going to take it easy. I'm not going to ride like a maniac. And as I say, having sat on the GS, I don't feel I'm quite ready for that yet, and having moved that out the garage just now as well, and I sat on all the bikes to move them out rather than wheel them out in the traditional way just to be safe. That GS is a big old heavy bike. I think I'm probably another month, 6 weeks before I'll attempt that. I have got some tours planned later in the year on the GS, so I'm desperate to get back on that bike. I think the first one is in June, and I'm recording this late March, so, well, mid-March. So what we've got, March, April, May, June, 3 months. I should be okay. Hopefully I'll be okay for that first tour. In fact, I might do a little mini tour before then, just as by way of a check. Anyway, here we are, back in Great Missenden. How lovely is this? Oh, it's so good to be back on a bike, folks. What an absolute winner. And yeah, thanks again to the person that suggested I wear the airbag vest. It's not something I normally wear on the bike. I mean, it's very hard to argue against them, isn't it? Because let's face it, if you've come off your bike and you're flying through the air, you're going to be very happy that you've got an airbag vest. Well done, this walking front lady. You're going to be very happy that you've got one of those on, aren't you? Even though you feel pretty trussed up when you're wearing it. Although this time of year, where it's not particularly warm, it's about 9 degrees when I'm riding out here, even though it looks a lovely sunny day. They do keep you a bit warmer, so actually this time of year it's quite nice. Although I do feel a bit trussed up like a turkey at Christmas.
Here's a quick news flash. Did you know that most people watching this channel aren't subscribed? It's absolutely free, takes just a second. Hit that subscribe button below now. It makes a massive difference to the sorts of videos I can bring you. Thank you very much.
Now, I'm going to ride my normal sort of bike test route, because one of the reasons for really wanting to come out on the bike today was because I want to know if I can, of course, get back into doing bike reviews, which are sort of my bread and butter here on the channel, aren't they? And tomorrow, Suzuki are delivering me the new GSX 8TT. Oh, hello. Road closed, it says here. We never know which bit actually is closed, do we? Let's go and have a look. So yeah, they're bringing me the 8TT, which looks a smallish, compactish bike, so I thought that wouldn't be a bad bike to start my, or restart my review career on, if you like. And it's a bike that I really like the look of. So that's what I'm going to do my first of this sort of new season reviews on. And I'm figuring if I can ride this Kawasaki okay, then the GSX 8TT should be fine too for that sort of period of time. So that was my logic. I wonder where this road is closed. I imagine I'll have to turn around at some point. The other thing I'm a little bit worried about with riding is the pothole situation. I mean, I know everybody's whinging about them, and I certainly agree with all the whinging. I mean, the roads in this country at the moment are a terrible state, and it's kind of like you have to read the road ahead. I mean, this road isn't too bad, but you can see the sort of overbanding here, this gash running down the middle. Normally I wouldn't be too worried about that, but with the shoulder, you know, any sudden jarring of it could really hurt. So that's something is sort of in my mind. I am fully paracetamoled up, by the way, so I'm on max painkillers and have been since the operation. I mean, I could come off those, but the physio seems to think it's a good idea to keep the level of pain killing up while I'm stretching the arm out and doing the physio. And I have to say, whilst the physio is a right tiresome thing, it takes quite a bit of time, and I have to do it 3 or 4 times a day. It really does seem to be helping out. In that I have little plateaus where not much seems to be happening, but in the last week it's felt like I've got a bit more movement back in my arm. So I'm really pleased about that. Generally speaking, it's about a year to 18 months before you get, you know, sort of 90% of what a proper shoulder should be doing back. So, I mean, no illusions about how long it takes. But I do, of course, want to make sure I can ride, do bike reviews, and of course, in another month or 2, do some tours again on the bikes. Right, where's this road closed then? It says flood, man in high-vis clothing. How much longer am I going to get? Don't particularly want to go through a flood because the bike's lovely and clean. And yeah, one of the reasons for coming out today was it was this beautiful dry day. Oh yeah, I have missed this. It's all very well driving your car, your fun car, and that's all great, but let's face it, bikes are so much better, aren't they? So much more fun. The other thing I'm testing today, if you're interested, is a new camera. I'm using the latest Osmo Action, I think it's called the Action 6, and I've got a wide angle lens adapter on it as well. I'm also filming at a slightly slower frame rate if you care about that sort of thing. The idea being you get a bit of motion blur on the footage, so it looks like I'm going fast even when I'm not. Well, it's a bit more cinematic. Right, I'm going to turn down here now because this is where I usually test my suspension, because this is the rattiest road around here. So if my shoulder's all right round here, there's a bit of gravel about. Lots of gravel about, in fact. That's a bit scary. Let's see how we fare up here. Yeah, there's a few new potholes opened up. Yeah, it's pretty ratty down here. Although I have to say the suspension on the Z900RS is an absolute cracker. Oh, that's a big bump. But the shoulder's holding up all right. Yeah, it's feeling good. Very pleased about this. No, I don't think I want to do a track day, and I don't think I want to ride for 5 hours today, but certainly I think first ride, bike reviews, that sort of thing, well within my grasp now, so absolutely chuffed about that. I haven't been off YouTube for so long, since I started basically, so I was very interested to see what happened to my income during that period. Now, whilst I don't make all my money on YouTube, I do make a large proportion of it, and I can't afford to not be making videos forever. Well, that's what I thought. And it was interesting to see how much the revenue went down, because of course videos are still up on the channel even when you're not making them, and I still got views. And overall, I suppose my views went down by about 2/3 during the period I wasn't making videos, and it levelled out there. So I can sort of assume if I stopped making videos forever, for a while at least, I would still make 1/3 of the revenue that I was making. That's how it kind of panned out. Right, this is my, which I thought was quite interesting. So this is my little handling section, because there's a couple of nice bends here. You can wind it up a bit. Oh, it's feeling good. Feeling really good. Somebody else mentioned actually when I was talking the other day at the end of my bike news about getting back on the bike, they said, well, actually riding the bike is probably good exercise for the shoulder, because it's getting into the position that you're going to be in, and I think there might be something in that. Feels quite nice coming down here. So where is this road going to be closed then? Right, we've got a clear run up here. Yeah! Oh, you've got to love a 4-cylinder bike, haven't you? Now, a question I posed on a video the other day when I did my garage talk video, I talked about getting the Translogic quick shifter for this bike. I now asked your opinion on that, and I would say, of the comments I got, it was split 50-50. 50% said, why do you want or need a quick shifter on a road bike? Doesn't make any sense. It's a lot of money. Just enjoy changing gear. And I sort of have a bit of sympathy with that. I do enjoy changing gear, and yes, it is a road bike. I'm not going to be going on track with this, so completely get that. The other 50% said, yeah, of course, get yourself a quick shifter. Nothing like screaming up through the box on a 4-cylinder. It feels great. And I completely agree with that too. I got a quick shifter, of course, on my Ducati. I had a quick shifter on my old Triumph Street Triple, which was an up-only quick shifter, and I thoroughly enjoyed banging up through the box. I mean, it wouldn't work so much if you didn't have a bike that sounded as good as this. But I do think a quick shifter on here, even though it would be up only, would be a good idea, because I was musing, if you didn't see that video, about whether to just buy the Translogic quick shifter or whether I spend the money and buy a new Z900RS SE that now has an up and down quick shifter and auto blipper. But although the Translogic quick shifter is about 400 quid just to buy, that's without fitting, it'd be way more expensive selling this and, in quotes, upgrading to the newer model. With the newer model you also get cruise control, but I don't actually need that, because I don't really use this as a touring bike. This is a blast around the lanes bike, this sort of thing, and it's absolutely brilliant for that. And and also that new RSSE. I don't like the switch gear on it. This has got very basic but quality switch gear. The new one, it just looks a bit trumpery, particularly the indicator. So I'm quite happy with this bike. I've only had this, I think this is a 2024 model, so I've had it a couple of years now. Blimey, somebody's been having a go around here at the trees, hacking this all back. This was well overgrown last time I rode through, looking much clearer. Feels much more open, like it. So yeah, so my thoughts at the moment are I will get the quick shifter at some point, and I'll stick with this bike because I've got things like the new header pipes on here. I put the panniers on, various little mods that I've done with this bike. I don't have to go through that all again on a new bike, just for the sake of getting an up and down quick shifter. It's a glorious day. Look at this blue sky. It's actually so good to see a bit of blue sky, doesn't it? The problem we have in Blighty in winter is just the greyness and the lack of light. But the evenings are properly drawing out now. It's all looking up, and I cannot wait for this biking season. So yeah, just going back to, so I wonder where that road close was relevant for. That's very strange. So going back to the quick shifter thing. Actually, let's go this way because this is the way I would normally come on a bike review. Yeah, somebody else said, well, don't spend the 400 on the Translogic. You can get a, oh, I'm trying to remember the make. There's another make that'll come to me in a minute that is less cost and just as good. But then somebody else said, no, the Translogic is way better. It's a better quality device and it's plug and play. You can literally fit it yourself. It's easy. So I don't know. So if you've got any thoughts on that, which quick shifter to go for on the Z900RS, let me know and I'll ponder some more. But anyway, that's my thinking at the moment. It's feeling great, this bike. It's so nice to be out and not wearing thermals, I'd say. Although, as I say, it's only about 9 degrees, so I think you would get chilly if you're out on a longer ride. So the bumps and the potholes don't seem to be affecting my new shoulder too badly. It doesn't seem to be hurting over the bumps, so that's good. My tennis elbow on my left arm's not hurting too much in this position, so that's good. Just check there's nothing behind me. Let me just try a hard bit of braking. Okay, so just getting a lot of weight on the arm there. Absolutely fine. It's all good. Yeah, I'm thinking riding is back on. Happy days.
Right, back in the garage. That was absolutely fabulous. Thoroughly enjoyed that. What an absolute hoot to be back on a bike. Bloody brilliant. Anyway, glad to say, didn't need the heat-light, but it did keep me nice and warm. It was absolutely brilliant to be back on the Big Quacker. So it's a big thumbs up. Back on the bike from now on.